O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show. This is the.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Come on in to Toyota of Hollywood, where curiosity and extraordinary deals await you. Your golden ticket buys a 2025 Corolla, not $26,000, $17,988. And we've got sweet deals with 0% financing for 72 months, 0 down. Enter our world of wonder, and we'll show you why we're the #1 volume Toyota dealer. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help.
Price, service, selection. Get all this and more at South Florida's #1 loved Subaru store. Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Save today with our 3 ways to save. 0% financing, 0 down payment, or make no payments for 90 days. From Subaru of Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
Boys and girls, on a Monday, April 27th, 2026. Give me a thumbs up to make sure we're good audio-wise. Everything's kosher. You guys are hearing us well. Appreciate you all. Don't forget, please smash that like button always when you get on, when you watch a video, anything, a rant. Make sure you smash it, and the like button too. Let's see. Haven't gotten any responses yet here. We got it. We got it. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Suds. Thank you. Quick draw McGraw. All right. It is day number 19,097 since our beloved Miami Dolphins won the Super Bowl championship. It is day number 8,880 since the Canes were national champions. And I think maybe after today's press conference with Pat Riley, we might have to add the Heat countdown to it, because something tells me it's going to be a long time for the Miami Heat to win a championship again. But anyways, that's another subject that we will touch on this show. And we will touch on Pat Riley talking today at 1:00, which is interesting to say the least, because you think about it. We'll get into it. Anyway, Charles Davis of the NFL Network will join us on the show. He'll give us his thoughts on the Dolphins draft and his opinions. I gave you my opinions on the draft all throughout the weekend. Hopefully you all tuned in and caught us live after the first round, second round, third round. And then on Saturday, we did just one show recapping rounds 4 through 7. All 4 of those shows are up. Please check them out. Please hit the like buttons on them, all that good stuff. Get the algorithms going. Support the show, whether you can visit our sponsors, hit the like buttons, watch, all those things. You could turn it on and just like walk away and let it play. You know what I'm saying? Even that. And of course, you can also make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. You can send in your questions, comments, insults, all kinds of things. You don't know my shirt. Okay. Not a Democrat, not a Republican, not a liberal, not a conservative. I'm a Bitcoiner. That's my religion. Okay. I don't follow any of these silly ass parties that most of you follow. Okay. That's just kind of, I try to get that out, but people don't really understand that. Anybody that's a real Bitcoiner doesn't give a shit about parties anymore. Once you understand what they're doing to our money and you understand Bitcoin, you will never, ever, ever, ever care about any of these parties. Ever. Because you will see right through both of them. Something that a lot of you guys don't, unfortunately. So they pit you against each other. I'm pitted against all of you. This is kind of the way it goes. So there you go. You know. Anyway, so there you go. So yes, this is totally me, dude. Totally me. Completely. Okay? Completely. All right? No doubt about that. So yes, that is me. Always, it's been like that for several years now, at least 6. So once you read the white paper, understand what's going on, you will get it. You will get, like Michael Saylor, by the way, today, a mere $250 million today. He bought 3,273 Bitcoin. That means 3,273 people now miss out on a chance to own one full Bitcoin. Remember, there are over I believe it's 8.4 billion people on the planet. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. 4 of them are lost from keys, or maybe they're in trash bins or trash piles somewhere inside hard drives. And so he just took out 3,273 people from owning a Bitcoin. Now there's a lot of people out there that could purchase 10% of a Bitcoin, 20% of a Bitcoin, half a Bitcoin, and they don't do it. So, they miss out on it. That's fine. Anyway, 255 million at 77,906 per coin. Strategy now owns 818,334 Bitcoin at $61.81 billion. Their average is at 75,537. So they're barely in the green right now, because where are we, like at 77 or 78 or something like that right now? Where are we at right now? We are at 77.8 right now. So flirting around with 79 yesterday. We should be popping to 80 today. That's my prediction. Don't hold me against it, but it is what it is. The Dow, by the way, is up 5 points. The S&P is down 1, and the NASDAQ is up about 1/3 of a point. That's what's going on. Okay. So there you go. John Esslinger. You get it, baby. Now you know. Now you know. Bell Biv DeVoe. Now you know. Don't forget our friends at Welton Realm, proud sponsors of our program, 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Reach out to my guys, Jeff and Dan. They are the best left tackle and right tackle that there is in the business, protecting you. And then when they go on defense, they attack the court. They attack the opponent, the insurance company that doesn't want to live up to their responsibilities. That's why whenever you have any damage, never, ever call the insurance companies. You call Welton Realm first. They send their adjusters. Their adjusters assess the damage, and then they go after the insurance company for you. They're your tackle, and they're your pass rusher. You don't need anything else. The only thing you do, you're the executive. You pick up the check in the office. 954-966-4646. Consultations completely free. We've had listeners here in South Florida, on the West Coast, on the Gold Coast, in Central Florida. Call Welton Realm. 954-966-4646. Absolute badasses. All right. Don't forget, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can send in your questions, comments, insults, all kinds of stuff. We always appreciate it. Thank you. However it is you can support us, and use those QR codes there. All right. I see Jeff in Long Island, number 1. He says, I'm giving Sully a B on the draft. I thought he had a good day 3. Okay. True FinFan, only time will tell. Every GM has passed on a player that turned out to be a great player. It's part of the biz and natural thing. Yes, that's right. That does happen. And sometimes you hit on a player that others did not see, or you reached on, or everybody else passed on and you took them. Kind of like that. With Jimmy Johnson, you could probably say at the same time he might have reached for Jason Taylor, an undersized, skinny defensive end, and then he had a Zach Thomas fall to him at 5. And everybody else passed up on him, and he took him. Goes both ways, right? Let's see. What else? Dolphin Dave. I think it's silly to judge the draft. I agree. It's pretty much impossible. The only thing we can do is, you saw the theme of the show today, right? That's the only thing that we can do, is that we can have a discussion about drafting of Caden over Ruben Bain. So either Proctor or Bain. That's what you can talk about. And then we could talk about some of the other moves, right? And I'll give you something very interesting to think about, because it's very frustrating for all of us as Dolphins fans, because we constantly see University of Miami players that are really good, and they go to other teams, right? And, you go back and look. Maui Noa ends up on the Giants. They've won a couple championships in this millennium. We haven't, right? We haven't even won a playoff game, right? Ruben Bain ends up with the Bucks. They win a couple championships. They're better than we are overall the last quarter century. It's not even close. They're a way better franchise than the Dolphins. Dolphins are garbage next to the Bucks. So they took Bain. We didn't. Akeem Mesidor ends up with the Chargers. They're kind of up and coming now with Harbaugh, right? They got to the playoffs. Carson Beck, he ends up with the Cardinals. A lot of us aren't necessarily big believers in Carson Beck, but he ends up with the Cardinals, so it's kind of like, poor kid. You know what I'm saying? Markel Bell ends up with the Eagles. I think Howie Roseman knows something about talent. I think that team knows something about physicality, and so they chose Markel Bell. Jacoby Thomas, he ends up with the Vikings. They have a history that they kind of know about defensive players and stuff, right? Keontae Scott ends up with the Bucks. Again, where Bain ends up, where other Canes players have ended up, and where they have won titles. We don't win shit here. So let me give you even more disturbing stuff to just keep it going. So we end up with the Yatil Greens of the world, right? And Jalen Phillips doesn't work out for us. And we could just go on and talk about it. That, that we rarely reach for the obvious players that are there that, like, they're going to be badasses. The other people know they're going to be badasses, and they take them, but we don't. And then I also went back to the Green Bay history. Bubba Franks in 2000 in the first round, a tight end, and that was I want to say that was the end of the Ron Wolf era, and then started the crap master Najee Davenport, an offensive player, but in the fourth round in 2002. Jonathan Ford, defensive tackle, in the 7th round in 2022. Jonathan Garvin in the 7th round, a defensive end in 2020. This is what they've taken in Green Bay. They've never taken any of the badass defensive players that have come out of here. Neither has Miami. So whether we're talking about Ron Wolf, whether we're talking about Ted Thompson or Gutekunst, who's there now, and he comes from that whole tree. They win at least more than Miami. They build better teams overall than Miami. They're better structured than Miami. So there's that at least. But I just want to give you kind of like some insight there on the whole thing. Not only do the Miami Dolphins as a history kind of don't really take advantage of what's right in their backyard, neither has the Green Bay front offices over the years. They're not reaching for them either in the draft. And in this draft, the aforementioned names I just gave you were all over, and they had an opportunity to get some of those guys, and they chose not to. And it was right in their backyard. And not only them, but other scouts that they have in the building, other people, they've watched them from near and from afar, and everybody saw what this team was doing and now developing under Mario, the kind of player that you really now want in the next level. So will it haunt John Eric Sullivan? Time is the only thing that's going to answer, because if Caden Proctor is mauling people and doing his job, people aren't going to say, okay, they're going to say, well, he was right. The guy's a player. You know, Ruben's doing great, but so is he. You know what I'm saying? So that's okay. We can live with that. But if Ruben Bain is kicking ass and Caden Proctor is up and down or having any weight issues because he's now in Miami and he's got a lot of free time and, you know, it's different, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Only time can answer what happened. What happens. Now, I will tell you this. The difference right away between Ruben Bain and Caden Proctor is they both can become really good players, but Ruben Bain is an ultimate leader. He's a tone setter. He's a guy that the offense is going to have to scheme for. And that's the difference between the two. We're talking about a guy that's going to be a face of a franchise. We're talking about a guy that can be challenging for Defensive Player of the Year. That's how I feel about Ruben Bain. I think Ruben Bain is going to be a monster. I think he's going to be a player. Like many others, whether it's Warren Sapp, whether it's Jerome Brown, I don't give a shit. Ray Lewis. I can go on and talk about some of the badass Russell Marylands of the world, all these defensive players that we saw here, and we go, yeah, Ed Reed's going to be a monster at the next level, and that's exactly what he was, headed to the Hall of Fame. To me, it's the same shit. That's what I see in Ruben Bain. I see a bad mother effer. I just know that when you allow him to go to the next level, he is going to be the same effing player he was here, because that's who he is. And that's why I have that billboard for this show today. You know, will this haunt John Eric Sullivan? Because how many times will you be at the 11th and now 12th pick in the draft and a franchise-like player falls to you? And what I mean by a franchise player, I'm talking about a face player. The offensive lineman is rarely a face player. That's not the guy that sells season tickets. That's not the guy that brings excitement. That's not the guy that they all clamor for autographs. That's not the guy that they're tuning specifically in for. The guy that wrecks somebody's freaking offense, the guy that sacks the quarterback on third down, the guy that busts the running back in half on third and short and fourth and short, that's the kind of shit that football fans live for. And Ruben Bain is the kind of player that delivers those kind of moments. He delivers that hammer every day. You saw the family. I saw the whole thing about Browns, since he's from Brownsville, which is a tough part of our town. And, you know, and everybody was dressed in brown. Now we know the whole theme behind everything. And that dude is all business, man. You know, I love those kind of guys that they just don't want to fuck around. So this is going to be a very interesting decision, because I will tell you, I'm super happy for Ruben Bain, but I am extremely pissed as a Miami Dolphins fan. Extremely pissed as a Miami Dolphins fan. And Caden Proctor, buddy, You got a lot to live up to. You better be the second coming of Richmond Webb. You better be the second coming of Jim Langer, of Dwight Stevenson, of Larry Little. You better be one of those badass mofos. Anything less, and this pick is a failure. Because I believe Ruben Bain will be one of those bucks that they're going to remember forever. Barring injury, which could end any player's career. But outside of that, Ruben Bain is headed to be a star and a thumper and a guy that you got to scheme against. So we will find out. Time will answer all of this. But for now, there's a lot of us with a sour taste in our mouth out of this draft. Forget about grades. It's not about grades because, as True Fin Fan put it in the beginning of the show there on the chat board, time is going to answer that. We really can't give a grade right now. But I can be pissed. I can be pissed. Okay? Because I have way more confidence in Ruben Bain than I do in Caden Proctor until proven otherwise. Until proven otherwise. So when you prove it to me, then I'll say, hey, great pick, John. You took some balls and you know what? You might be the right GM because in the face of that kind of heat, you took the guy that you still thought was better for the overall picture. All right, let's move forward. Let's see what happens. But for now, yeah, I'm pissed, man. I'm pissed. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Ho Yoon. Thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. Appreciate you. Just puts have a great day. You too, sir. Ray, much love. R&M Contractors, thank you, sir. Says, good morning, my brother. Happy Monday. As much as we wanted some UM players with our Dolphins, let's see how this draft class plays out in the end of the season. But these are the character blue-collar players, so we shall see after the season. Exactly. He might have nailed it. That could be the case. And that's what we have to kind of be a little patient on. He might have nailed it. So let's give it a chance. Let's see what develops here for the Miami Dolphins in this draft class. You know, thank you all out there. As always, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Big Johnson, happy Monday to you. Dolphin Dave, if I'm a GM, I don't pass on Ruben Bain. I agree. Kosa says, we got a lot of bodies. Chances are in a couple are going to be outstanding. Well, we need it. You know, you look at this class, and I love the Chris Johnson kid. He can play. He can flat out play. The only thing is we're going to find out if he's ready to play at this level because of the physicality, and he's not a big kid. And, you know, the short GM and the short head coach, they're willing to take chances on undersized players. That was the theme throughout. Jacob Rodriguez, I freaking love. That's a pick that I think is going to be instant, and he's bigger than Zach. And I explained it on Friday night. He's bigger than Sam Mills. He's bigger than London Fletcher. He's bigger than Zach Thomas. He's bigger than Mike Singletary. He's bigger than James Harrison. So now, while he's not a large linebacker, he's not like necessarily really small, but that's the only knock you can. Okay, fine. This guy can play. He's a thumper. He's going to fly all over the place. Caleb Douglas, I'm not exactly sure about him. He's got a lot of the traits, but he's got to become more of a physical player, so we'll see. Kazmarek is going to block your ass off. That was a great pick. You needed a blocking tight end, so that adds to the line. I think it's huge. Chris Bell is the steal of this draft for them. The Louisville wide receiver, he's a stud, bro. He's a stud. He's a man. He was already an NFL player playing in Louisville. I watched him. Size, physicality, hands, route running, maturity, all there with Chris Bell. Love that freaking pick. The Trey Moore kid's a light in the ass, so we're gonna find out if he's got he depends on athleticism and all that kind of stuff to be the bomb. And if he gets caught up with linemen, they swallow his ass up. So we're going to find out if he can get stronger, if he can develop techniques, if he can distance himself from those guys, because sometimes some of these guys can live on their first step and athleticism and all that. I don't know if he's going to be able to, but he's going to have to develop some power in his game. Kyle Lewis is awesome. He flies around everywhere. Looking forward to having Charles Davis on. Pick guy. He's probably going to love the Kyle Lewis pick, I'm sure. Michael Taffy's another guy like Kyle Lewis that flies around. A linebacker's mind in a safety's body is what Michael Taffy is. But he's a really smart football player like Kyle Lewis, all over the place. And that's kind of what they went. Again, the short head coach and the short general manager are they will take the Kyle Lewises, the Michael Taffys, the Chris Johnsons, the Jacob Rodriguezes of the world, the guys that don't necessarily fit the mold that you want for the size. I think I forgot to bring up some water. Kevin Coleman, wide receiver. That's he's a returner. He's a slot guy. Finds the holes in the defense. That kind of kid. Not a physical kid, but he's tough. Sador, I don't know anything about the tight end from Mississippi, the European kid, but it's a great story. Good for him. DJ Campbell, big fat kid, plays in a phone booth. Can't really, you're not going to use him to pull and stuff like that. But he's more of a mauler, natural strength. It's more about him improving his technique and all that kind of stuff, and pass pro and all that. And then Max Llewellyn, an edge rotation, training camp fodder guy, back end rotation guy, something like that. A penetrator, not necessarily a guy that's going to hold up people. He's more of a disruptor is what he tries to be. And we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. They drafted guys with specific needs, specific things that they wanted to fill. Clearly, you can tell with some of these guys that have had a vision for some of these guys and the way he wants to use them in different parts of his defense. So we'll see. We'll see. All of that, we'll find out, man. We'll find out. None of this can really, we can't really say, oh, this is a surefire thing. It's going to work out. We shall find out, ladies and gentlemen. We shall find out. If I'm a GM, I don't pass on Bain. I agree. Let's see. Lenny Pena, good morning. Chris Bell was a steal. He single-handedly killed our Canes last year. Can't wait to see him on Sundays. And they said his recovery's like ahead of schedule, that he could be ready for the beginning of the season. I don't know if that's the case, but he's going to play in the second half of the year for sure. He'll probably start on the PUP list and then eventually but he'll get some playing time towards the end of the year. You're not going to be in the playoffs. You're never going to be in the playoff picture. You're going to be a disaster of a team. This is so young and green. They're going to be lucky to win 2-3 games, dude. You know what I mean? So it's about getting playing time. So at one point or another, Chris Bell will get playing time in the back end of this year. I guarantee you that. The injury wasn't that. He's young enough that he could easily bounce back from that. Medicine today, please. And the way athletes are taken care of and everything, science is well ahead. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be playing the second half at one point. Let's see who else. Negative says, if we had a Democrat, then we could have the luxury to take Bain, or we have a decent line, we could have the luxury of taking. Well, hold on a second. You could have also taken the Vega kid. I would have taken. I'm measuring Caden to Bain and Vega. I would have taken Vega over Caden. I'm on record for that. So you can hold me to it. You could call me an idiot if Vega fails, but I would have taken Vega. And it would have pissed me off that we passed on Bain, but I would have understood because I love Vega. Vega would have been a plug-and-play player right at guard. Now, I know what you're going to do. You're going to put this guy at guard and then kick him out to right tackle once Austin Jackson is gone after this season. So I understand what you're trying to do, but I also don't like a 6'8" mammoth human being in front of a short quarterback at guard. Not a fan of that, but we'll see. We shall see. Mania, thank you, sir. Ty in the Bronx, Ryan, D. Mao, Jimmy found 2 Hall of Famers. I wish our last 5 GMs could have done that. Yep. I just wish Jimmy could have done better on offense because he was as great on defense as he was super pathetic on offense, dude. So, and he left us Dave Wanstead. So I don't know about you, but these are unforgivable acts. What he did to Marino, and then he left the coach that the defensive players he drafted, he ruined the stretch. They got old and they didn't win anything. Great job by Jimmy, huh? Yeah, great job by Jimmy. He got the defensive players and then left you the coach that killed their careers. In this town, the love affair with Jimmy Johnson is baffling to me, to be quite honest. The guy between UM and the Dolphins fucked up more than he ever had success. It's really amazing. It's truly amazing. But it's not looked at that way. He's not looked at like the massive underachiever that he is. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. Really is amazing. But it's just like, wow. It's funny as hell, dude. Really is. Like people, they never really put the whole puzzle together. The Fiesta Bowl, the Maryland loss, yeah, you got one championship, but should have done more. And then you just were a cancer for the Dolphins. You ruined Marino's stretch, and then you left Wanstead, and you're just like, I don't really understand any of this, to be quite honest. I don't understand it. It's the biggest facade that we have in town with one coach. The biggest facade we have in one town with one coach. God, the love affair is so freaking ridiculous, dude. The praise deserves in Dallas, dude, not here. Here is, yeah, all right. Whatever, dude. You're no Pat Riley. You're no Don Shula. Anyway. Horn Dog, I really hope Halfley and his coaching staff can coach and develop. Flores was an asshole, but he and his coaching staff coached and developed well defensively. Offensively, they failed also. He couldn't build an offensive staff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you have a coach that hates a player to the extent that he says, let me sabotage his career by starting him against the Rams. Yeah. Yeah, I have a terrible offensive line, a terrible team, a joke of offensive coordinators and everything going on for 4 years while I'm here because it's all dysfunctional. So let me put my rookie quarterback coming off a hip surgery in his first game to play against Aaron Donald and McLaughlin. I mean, why not? What could go wrong with Jesse Davis on the line? Oh, I can't trade Marino. Okay, great. I'm going to take Irving Fryer away from him and Byers and Kirby and his audibles. And I'm going to have a check with me system. I'm going to bring in a wildcat player, embarrass Marino by taking him off the field. Oh, and by the way, he's going to end his career at 62-7. Vindictful, isn't it? Interesting how some of these coaches, when they don't get what they want, they put other people through hell because they don't get what they want. And because they don't get what they want, well, then let me sabotage my own team. We've watched two coaches in the history of the Miami Dolphins, Jimmy Johnson and Brian Flores, purposely sabotage their teams. Not to do what's best for the players, the fans, the organization. No, I'm going to be a vindictive little bitch, and I'm going to do something that's evil because I didn't want Marino. I wanted to trade him, but Huizinga didn't let me. I didn't want Tua, but they drafted him, so I'm going to serve him up to the Rams. Okay. That's how it goes. Think Blue Dodgers checking in. Thank you, sir. I think Derek Brooks type. Just a badass, bro. Yeah. He's not as athletic as Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks is pretty special on his feet. So that's a different cat. Everything else is like Derek, but out in the open field, I would say Derek is better than Ruben Bain on that sense. I would say that. I have to be honest. Derek Brooks was a special deer. Okay? Like, that was a deer. When he was out there running, that was a freak. He wasn't only a badass linebacker. Derek Brooks can fly like the wind, bro. That's why he could run Dungy's defense. In Dungy's defense, the middle linebacker has to be extraordinarily athletic and has to be able to fly and drop. Cannot be a guy that's just a really good linebacker, a thumper, but maybe a little bulkier or a little slower. No, you've got to be super agile and athletic. And they don't get any more agile and athletic and nasty as Derek Brooks. He's a superb athlete. Oh my God. Great player, but I mean superb athlete. Let's see. B-Rob, if Hafley gets this team to 5 wins, I'll be impressed. Yeah, that'll be pretty scary. Yeah. Love the Johnson, Rodriguez, and Bell picks. Let's see if the monstrous proctologist gets into defender's ass. Thanks for the laugh there, Brian. I appreciate you, my brother. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. If you need custom printing and embroidery, please reach out to my guy, Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. Hats, jerseys, hats, uniforms, shirts, whatever you need. You're going on a field trip. You guys are having a big old picnic. Everybody wants to wear the same shirt. You can order them there. 786-618-1443. Dolphins, after the draft, they signed a bunch of free agents, undrafted free agents. Reportedly, quarterback Mark Gronkowski, running back Le'Veon Moss, running back Anthony Hankerson, Wide receiver Donovan McCarthy. Defensive lineman Renee Conga. Defensive lineman Rodney McGraw. Linebacker Mason Rieger. Safety Lewis Moore. Offensive lineman Jim Boniface from Iowa State. And offensive lineman Kevin Klein. Those are the undrafted free agents. On the pitch, New England and Miami played to a 1-1 draw at New Stadium. Nothing new. Another tie. Next up will be Orlando on Saturday. We'll see if they can play to another. Orlando is the 14th best team in the conference with 7 points. Miami is second. Maybe they can get their first win at New Stadium. That'll be something new. Spokane beat Fort Lauderdale United, sadly, 3-1. Saturday, they host Tampa Bay Sun FC at Beyond Bankcard Field, and we will be there broadcasting live 3:30 to 5:30. Catch us out there. In the basketball court, the Raptors defeated the Cavs 93-89. The series is tied at 2 games apiece. Spurs defeat the Blazers 114-93. San Antonio and Wemby, he's back, 3-1. They lead that series. Celtics defeat the Sixers 128-96. Boston leads 3-1. The Rockets over the Lakers, they needed that one, 115-96. Lakers lead 3-1. Tonight it's the Pistons and the Magic. It is Orlando leading 2-1 in that one. Props to Orlando, bro. I didn't even think the Chokers could go like this. If they win, that would be amazing. 9:30 tonight, OKC leading 3-0 in their series. They host the Suns. They're favored by 10.5. At 10:30, doggy. Not good for the T-Wolves. They're leading 3-1, but the Nuggets are favored by 11.5. Nice little scuffle the other night. But the key thing is that the Ant-Man is out. He suffered a bone bruise and a hyperextension of that left knee. He avoided ligament damage, according to Shams, and he is out multiple weeks. That, of course, will cost the T-Wolves in the long run. We'll see what happens. But they are leading 3-1, so maybe they got a chance to survive this series. Reports say Billy Donovan, who left the Bulls, is interested in one job, according to Chris Mannix. That is the Golden State Warriors. That is your 3A Graphics Sports Calendar. Don't forget, folks, visit our friends at Caneswear. And use our code BIGO10. You will get 10% off at Caneswear. And you can do it in person or online. And by the way, online, if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. Can't beat that. Go to caneswear.com or go in person. Anything and everything practically with a Canes logo on it. They got Dolphins, Marlins, Panthers, Inter Miami stuff. All right. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And you can send in your questions, comments, insults, all kinds of good stuff. The great Brian Radke, thank you for the love on Cash App. I appreciate you, sir. And he just puts good morning. Thank you, Brian. Very nice of you, sir. Thank you. All right. Oh, man. Let's see what we got here. By the way, Charles Davis will be joining us in a few minutes. We'll have some fun. Rusty Rags, Kyle Lewis was a great pick, and so was Mason Rieger. Has a chance to see both play. Oh, you had a chance. Oh, okay. Yeah, Mason is the Wisconsin kid. Yes. What else? Tampa, yes, I agree, Antonio. They got 2 studs in Bain and Scott. I agree. But, hey, Tampa usually picks UM players. They don't have a problem with that. Horn Dog, I really think Bain is the next Aaron Donald, and Proctor gives me Ewan Neal and J.C. Latham vibes. Overweight Alabama tackles that never reach their full potential. Hope I'm wrong. Hope we're all wrong. Yes. That said, let's start 2 against Donald and Michael Brockers, and think Blue Dodgers is laughing. I know, isn't it? Lou says O-line has a stronger shell life if they pan out. Look at the dudes in San Francisco. He's 40 and still elite. Yeah, but he came from Washington. That wasn't a draft pick of theirs. Okay, he's been there for a while, but that's a Washington draft pick. And then he got tired of Snyder and all that, and then he came over and he's been there for a while. You're right, but actually, if you look at John Lynch's draft the last 4 years, go to Warren Sharp on Twitter. He roasted Lynch. He put down his 4 last years, and they are horrible, dude. The Niners are swinging and missing on a lot of picks now, actually. After having that success that they had, they've kind of run their course in that whole thing. Everything comes to an end. It's unfortunately, we're watching it today at 1 o'clock with the Miami Heat and Pat Riley. Everything comes to an end. All runs come to an end. You know, sometimes if you're able to pull it off long term, then that's great. But at one point or another, you've got to make changes. And it's interesting, today at 1 o'clock, you wonder what's going to happen. And here's what I would tell you. If the reports are true that Nick Harrison has final say, why is Pat Riley still here? Just wondering. Just want to throw that out there. Because if the reports are correct, which it kind of seems, because there's a lot of money being decided in the middle of these decisions, and I look at the roster and it's constantly mediocre, plus Riley has no juice anymore. And they never acquire the picks that they need for trades or the cap space. And they don't have enough talent anymore to trade for more picks. So what could Pat Riley tell you at 1 o'clock? Feed you bullshit about Giannis? He really can't say it because Giannis is under contract, but what's he going to say? He's going to tell you that he's going to go after another whale that they can't get anymore? I'm just wondering, because I haven't seen them with a harpoon in their hand in a while. So I'm not exactly sure what whale they're going to bring in. And if Nick Harrison is in charge, why? Because he's the owner's son? Because he was a ball boy for years? So now he was around the team, so this makes him qualified to run a basketball team? Well, if you've been making the decisions the last couple of years, I kind of already know where you're headed. You're lucky you have the best coach on the planet. It's the only reason why you're a playing team. If you didn't have the best coach on the planet, you wouldn't even be in the play-in. So what is Riley going to tell you today? And if he confirms that he doesn't have final say, I have no confidence in these people anymore. The only confidence I'm going to have is if the way it was that Riley ran everything. He had final say on everything. But over the years, it's now become a collective. Well, I'm sorry. Nobody is his equal. I don't need a collective here. And if Riley doesn't have it, I know nobody else in that building has it. So what can he tell me? An organization that has lost all its juice. All it does is Dolphin style. They live on their past. Dwayne Wade brought LeBron and Bosh, not Riley. If Riley had any juice, LeBron and Bosh would have never forced them to trade the first-round picks in order to acquire them. They would have just signed straight up as free agents. Instead, they demanded to be traded so they can keep their bird rights. And then when Bosh left to Houston and Riley had to talk him to come back, Miami had to pay him more than Boston was paying, and then Houston was paying him. Houston was a $98 million deal. Miami was a $126. And this is the team that gave him 2 championships. And he was forcing them to give more money. Riley had no juice. because it was all Wade. And Wade brought Jimmy Butler. Riley has not brought a whale in since Shaq. And that whale was overweight and had to lose 100 pounds before he could actually become effective again. So what is Riley going to tell you? Because the Heat is no longer a desirable location. There's no stars that want to come here, and they can't produce any themselves. What can you tell me? Nick Harrison does not instill any kind of confidence in any way, shape, or form. So if Riley doesn't have final say anymore, which is obvious he doesn't have final say anymore, where's the hope? I'm trying to figure that out. Where does it make any sense? If they were actually, if there's actually more to offer, then I could feel better about it. But you have no stars on the team. You don't have enough picks. You made more mistakes again this year in the middle of the year where you had to get rid of guys. You hang on to players too long, which is probably a Nick Harrison thing. Because I didn't know Riley to be a patient guy. So it tells me that there's more going on behind the scenes. And it's not Riley only. I have no idea what he's going to say at 1 o'clock, but I don't think there's a damn thing he can say that will give Heat fans any kind of hope, because if we look at what's going on, the trajectory is obvious. They're headed downhill, and they're headed downhill fast. And they have no answers. That's the worst part. And look at it right now. They have no answers. And there are so many better options because the entire league has passed them by, because they refuse to tear it down. They refuse to be a lottery team. They think they're above that. Meanwhile, it's much more exciting to be a lottery team or a playoff team than to be a play-in team. And they don't get that. That's got to be Nick Harrison, because the guy I know, the guy I covered for years as a beat guy, the guy that I covered the first day he was here, he said, I have a vision of a parade down Biscayne Boulevard. This is not a guy that thinks about the play-in. This is not a guy that normally would tolerate a soft-ass Tyler Hero. And yet he does. Yeah. As the late, great Mad Dog would say, I put it to my nosy, and it don't smell so rosy. Ohio John, thank you for the love on Cash App. Says Coleman's highlights remind me a lot of Devon Best. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Yes. Yes. Okay. That would be pretty accurate right there. Yeah. Yeah. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And you can send in your questions, comments, and insults, just like everyone else does. And we appreciate that immensely. Thank you, thank you, thank you out there. Big O, what's your favorite pick of the weekend? My favorite pick of the weekend is probably Chris Bell. Chris Bell's my favorite pick because I think it's the biggest steal of the draft for them. I love the Jacob Rodriguez pick. I love the Kyle Lewis pick too. Actually, the Michael Taffy kid is a very smart football player. Very smart. If he's durable, then we'll see. We'll see. And by the way, I love Kazmarek. The Ohio State kid will block your ass right into the ground. You need a tight end like that. They'll get a dynamic pass catcher at one point or another eventually next year. They'll draft one or the year after. You can't, dude. One thing that I did like that Sully said, and he's right, and you got to have that attitude, which I told all of you. They cannot plug every hole in this offseason. They cannot. And they won't be able to next offseason either. It's going to take a couple of years to rebuild, dude. You got to give these guys some time. So do the best you can for what you have right now. We shall see if they can build a team and a culture. You know? So, yeah. Anyway. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Don't forget, visit our friends at Toyota of Hollywood. Ah, yes, the great Herbie Lopez. He is absolutely awesome. He knows how to get it done there at Toyota of Hollywood, baby. At 1841 North State Road 7 between Hollywood and Sheridan. Camry LE sedan right now, $299 a month. The selection is ridiculous, whether you're looking at Camrys, whether you're looking at hybrids, where you're looking at all kinds of Corollas now. I mean, there are so many different kinds of Corollas. They look so cool, whether it's Supra, Tundra, whatever it is you're looking for, we got a great selection for you at Toyota of Hollywood. Thousands of cars under roof, so you're away from the rain and the heat and the humidity. They're open till midnight. A lot of people work, man. They don't have time to go buy a car between 9 to 5. They're working to earn the money to pay for that car. So when you're done from work, shoot on over to Toyota of Hollywood. Tell them that Big O sent you. They'll take care of you there, man, at Toyota of Hollywood. Good people. Really good people. Really good people over at Toyota of Hollywood. All right, what else? Let's see, Big O, what are your thoughts on the Dolphins not drafting any Canes? Well, I talked about that already. You got to rewind a little bit, but I talked about that already. I gave you some stats. They're not good, not just for Dolphins, but Green Bay and everything. You know, it's kind of crazy. So it's interesting. What else do we have? They did get Mark Gronkowski, the quarterback out of Iowa. The linebacker Mason Rieger out of Wisconsin. These are undrafted free agents. Who else? That you know what? We'll ask Charles Davis if he likes any of these free agents. Who else? I think is it the Hankerson kid? I think from Oregon State. Also, there's a couple guys that could earn themselves a practice squad spot or a back end roster spot or something like that. You have guys that could be rotational guys. You never know. You never know. I mean, it's such a green team. What do you expect? You know, it's kind of the way it goes. It's a green team. They're going to have a lot of young people on this team. So there's going to be a lot of spots available. By the way, Bitcoin's still stuck right around 77,800. Beautiful thing. Nothing wrong with that. As for the market right now, it is not bad, down 76 points. I think the market has been amazing, much better than I expected. You shouldn't be worried right now, at least. S&P down 5 points, and the NASDAQ is up a point. So there we go. That's what we got going on. Charles Davis should be joining us any second now. He'll join us here at the top of the hour. We'll talk a little Miami Dolphins with him. We'll get his thoughts on the draft. And I'll even ask him about the street free agents, the undrafted free agents that they signed, and see if any of those names jump off the board for him overall. Let's see. Thank you, Jay Bird. Appreciate you. Thank you, Sam the man. He said, heard the Bills was trying to get Chris Johnson. I'm sure that's why they moved up. Just like when you had the Cowboys move into the 11 spot, and they gave and by the way, that was a great move by Sully. Let me mention that too. Okay. I may disagree with the Caden Proctor pick because he could have taken Bain or Proctor there. So 11 or 12 doesn't matter. That's a moot point. But a great move by him to pick up the 2 5th-rounders. That tells me that somebody else was also trying to move into 11, but wasn't offering a better deal than 2 5th-rounders. So the Cowboys moved in, and they ended up getting their guy. There you go. And then the Dolphins knew that they weren't taking their guy, so they didn't care about moving down a spot. That's kind of the way it goes. All right, you tell me who you're getting, and I'll give you the pick because I got somebody to say, but I just want to make sure you're not taking our guy. And usually they do that kind of stuff because there's professional courtesy that comes with it also at the same time. All right, we promised you the man, the myth, the legend. Charles Davis is ready to join us here on the program. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great, Big O. How's everything in your world?
Life is good, man. Life is good. It's an interesting start for Sully and company. And, I sent you the billboard just to have a little fun. But initially, that's the controversy, obviously, because being down here in Canes Nation, we have watched so many great defensive players and offensive players, but guys that you look at and you go, this guy's going to translate to the next level. He's going to be the same SOB you see here at the next level. I want him. And so that is the main theme out of it is the whole Ruben Bain thing. I actually take it to another extreme. I love Bain. And then I said, okay, if you're not going to get Bain, get me Vega, because I think Vega is like a plug-and-play player at guard right now. And since you have your tackles, put in a guard that's shorter because I don't have a tall quarterback. Now I got Caden for a year. He's going to be a very big guard for a year because I'm sure that what's going to happen is that the right tackle is only going to be here for a year. They kind of paid him off this offseason, so it kind of looks like he's gone next year. So Caden will go out to right tackle after next year. That's what I think will be the plan. But, I look at it and I go, okay, well, I would have liked Vega there because I really love his makeup. So your thoughts on the whole thing, your thoughts on Caden, your thoughts on Bain, and even Vega for shits and giggles, as they say, my friend.
I like where you're going with all of it, and it makes a lot of sense in so many ways. What it tells me, and I've kind of had this theory for a little while now, these brand new general managers, and when I say brand new, I'm going kind of Joey Tribbiani air quotes, they're brand new in terms of they are the general manager. But for the most part, they've all trained for a long time and worked hard in their, respective places, sometimes multiple places before they get their shot. I'm talking the Nick Casarios of the world, Monty Ossenforts of the world. Now, of course, we're talking John Eric Sullivan, et cetera. So you know where I'm going with this, Big Al. Of
course.
It's not like we plucked a banker from somewhere and now the banker is our general manager, a la the college athletic world, right? So he's worked on it. My trait for a lot of these so-called new general managers in recent years is I've actually been somewhat stunned at how many of them have been extremely bold out of the gate. And in this case, John Eric Sullivan, you could make the case he was very bold out of the gate because he didn't follow consensus. He didn't follow type. He didn't go by the quote-unquote book, which is a brand new general manager. You might expect him to do, right? Let's be safe on this thing. Let's, keep it down the fairway. Let's hit it and put it in play, whatever analogy you want to use. Okay, remember Monty Ossenfort's first draft and all these trades and right up there and taking guys early and,
Right.
Casario and what he's done, been being aggressive throughout time, making moves. Heck, remember Joe Douglas with the Jets? When he became general manager, making a move, here's a trade, here's this. I'm going to trade another one and get a third first-round pick. This falls in that category for me because of all the things that you opined. And what you put out there, Big O, is all legit stuff. Bain has been the subject of conversation from the moment we knew it was time to get ready for the draft. Because as soon as we saw the tape measure on the arms, that became major conversation. Do you trust it? Do you not trust it? Do you go with this? Do you go with that? Look, we can talk all we want about, hey, we saw what he did on the field. We could also talk, guess what? We haven't had a guy with his measurements get double-digit sacks since 1987. This is not unreal. This is not just, hey, we didn't do it. We love Will Campbell coming out of LSU last year, and he had short arms. And, boy, that showed up come playoff time. Now, was that totally that? No.
Oh, no, but he had the knee. He had the knee injury that he had.
That's where I was going. He had that as well. But there were times when you said to yourself, okay, what are we doing here? That's going to happen. That conversation doesn't go away unless you have total clean sheets. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that's why you shy away. In fact, I've been a huge proponent throughout this draft process of saying whenever that argument's been presented to me about Ruben Bain, I've said, okay, it's a great argument. My question to you is, in 2026 in this draft, who are you taking with longer arms that's a better player than Ruben Bain in that spot? And the answer is there was no one. I said, so why are we having this conversation? We're not drafting.
By the way, was Ray Lewis like some freak or something athletically, like body-wise?
No, Ray Lewis was extremely productive when he went in, and he went late in the first round, and he became a fantastic player. We know that. We've also had guys where it's gone the other way. It's just a matter of how it goes. We will know in 3 years, okay? In 3 years, we're going to know. But all I'm saying is in this draft, I would not have gone past Ruben Bain because I've been worried about his arm length. Okay, that's just me. So this is, if that's indeed why the Dolphins did it, that's their call. Vega, I'm crazy about Vega. Like, I just think that he is just he's the type of guy that in the third and fourth quarter, people opposite him are questioning whether they really want to keep doing this. Like, he's that type of a player where he will break you over time. And you just want to know, do I really want to keep playing this game with this big guy pounding on me? Plus, he has good movement skills, pulls well, traps well, does all the things you're looking for. So I could get with Vega. In fact, there was a conversation from someone the night before the draft that I really trusted that had him inside the top 10, and no one was really blinking. Because, again, in this draft, the so-called non-premium positions had better players. Safety, linebacker, we had 2 off-the-ball linebackers go early, right? Safety, linebacker, offensive guard, better players than what we're talking about, the so-called premium positions. So all I do is when I bring it full circle, and I'll stop my soliloquy, John Eric Sullivan and his staff, if they determined moving back and getting Proctor was better for them, that's a big swing, because that means you're saying, I feel good about this kid going to be able to hold weight. I feel good about this kid being a motivated guy. You heard Nick Saban say, I don't know if he was a self-starter. All those things. As you said, do I play him at guard his first year before I kick him out to tackle? All these things come into play. To make those moves and nab him and not go by the book, that means that you feel, okay, we really got conviction about this. Now it really has to pay off, because when you go against the book, you're actually getting graded on a higher scale than you are if you go by the book. It's like recruiting, Big O. If I take the 5-star and he flames out, people kind of shrug. If I take the 2-star and don't take the 5-star and the 2-star doesn't play well, then I'm an idiot. That's kind of how it always works.
Oh, so your opinion on Caden Proctor as a player?
I liked him as a player. I thought he was a Detroit Lion all day long, because of what they like to do and how Dan Campbell likes to go about things. His consistency worried me about what I was getting out of him week in and week out. The weight part is definitely a factor. Do I feel good that this kid's going to mature and understand he's got to carry this and handle it, and I'm not going to look up in the offseason, in the middle of my offseason workouts, and he's 400 pounds? Am I going to be okay with all of that? That's something that obviously the Dolphins feel good about. They have to. Otherwise, you don't make that move. And I always write something down on my paper when I visit a team, when I go to a thing. I write down top of my paper. They know more than you do. That's their job. We know what we know from the outside. They know it from the inside. So they have to feel good about that. Did I like Proctor as far as those tackles and the whole deal? He was right in that mix. But the interesting part is every time I did a mock draft, there were different permutations where I didn't have him in the first round because I felt a little more comfortable with other tackles being consistent early. If he realizes his potential, he's as good as any of them out there. But I just worry about that consistency I've seen throughout.
Now, I love freaking Chris Johnson.
Yeah.
I love Jacob Rodriguez. Talk to me a little bit about Chris Johnson because I know what the knock is. Okay, so he didn't play at the highest level in college. He played against the West, Mountain West Conference, those kind of conferences out there. He didn't play against SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and now he's making the jump to the NFL. But from everything I hear and everything, and you watch the tape, skill-wise, this son of a bitch can do anything. He can play on any side. He can play. He's got the hips to play inside. He can play outside. So it's just, is he tough enough? Is he durable enough at 193, 195? That's my only question with Chris Johnson. So you tell me, what's your question?
Yeah, 193, 195 doesn't scare me at all playing out on the corner. I mean, we don't have a ton of Mel Blount 215-pound corners running around the league. So that's a non-issue for me. The coming out of Mountain West is a non-issue for me because players are players are players. I mean, the Packers quarterback's a Mountain West guy. And people think he's pretty good. Okay. So all in all, I don't worry about that at all. I think he's a heck of a prospect. In fact, I'd heard a heavy rumor that Minnesota had locked in on him at 18 at one point. And that would have been interesting to see him go there because that would have been another corner going to Minnesota. Rick Spielman's not there anymore, but it was right down that line, right? But people had him highly regarded. And as we learned, Big O, when Jermon McCoy's knee had made its rounds through the league and people decided we can't go there, that rose him even more in terms of rankings, who liked him and the whole deal. I like the kid a lot. I think he's tough as all get out. And his, what did the scout tell me? His I don't give a bleep factor is really high. Yeah. And so when you have that, I think he's a good player. It's not just that he likes the game, loves the game, all that. We get kind of caught up in that sometimes. You turn on the tape and you watch him play, and he's pretty darn good. And you turn him against these so-called Power 5 conferences, and you see him wreck those people. I like him. I love the pick for Miami because we'll debate and continue to debate over the next 3 years, not taking Bain, not taking Vega, and taking Proctor and seeing how that all turns out. But I felt like John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley, and the rest of that organization had a theme going into this draft, and that was get ball players.
Yes.
About the game, guys we don't worry about a whole lot, and let's turn them loose. And maybe the sideshow and circus can leave town for a while, and we can just play ball.
You know, you picked up on the same theme that I talked about. Not only that, you're coming here to set a culture. So you start talking about Chris Johnson. You start talking about Jacob Rodriguez. You start talking about Will Kazmarek. You start talking about Chris Bell. You start talking about your boy Kyle Lewis.
How about that?
Michael Taffy. These are guys that just play the game the right way. So they got them. So these are all football players that they got.
That was my thing.
These core guys that I just mentioned are football players. And they're going to set an example for these two guys in Sully and Half of how they want to do things. So not only did they draft them for talent, but I also think they drafted them for core purposes of showing people this is how it's going to be done.
Agreed. And the second part of that is not only are we showing you how it's going to be done, they're going to actually have a chance to do it. We think that they can actually do it. We always talk about new coaches coming in, right? New organizations, and they bring people with them so that those people are in the locker room and now they tell everybody what the coach means, right? They speak that coach's language. You know, I remember when Steve Spurrier took over Washington and he brought in a bunch of former Florida Gators. Unfortunately, he didn't bring in a bunch that were difference makers. They were guys that came in and could speak his language and tell the guys. But unless you're speaking the language, telling the guys, and you're out in front as one of the top players, that message doesn't resonate the same way. Gronk going to Tampa to be with Brady and speak Tom Brady to the rest of the locker room resonates because he's Gronk and he's going to give you great value out on the football field. So when you go through all those things, this is a little bit different experiment because they're not Green Bay Packer guys who speak John Eric Sullivan or speak Jeff Hafley. They are guys that they believe are going to speak their language by their actions out on the field. And all those guys you're talking about, we're talking about a lot of guys making this team, Big O, that isn't normal in a draft. Okay. Right. You're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to say 9 guys that feel like locks to make this team out of this draft. That's a heavy draft infusion of rookies that are going to carry your message, but they carry it by their play, not by them hitting the locker room going, I think John Eric Sullivan really means, because they don't know that. They don't know all that. They just say that John Eric Sullivan has told us, I think they speak the language we want them to speak.
Talk to me about the 2 linebackers. One, Jacob Rodriguez, that I love, and I love your boy Kyle Lewis, man. I think they got like 2 Tasmanian devils.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And Rodriguez kept rising, quote unquote. Again, remember that what I wrote on my paper, they know more than you do.
Right.
We thought that the sense of Rodriguez was like 3rd round. I think the league was like, nah, he's higher than that. And I think the combine confirmed it because unfortunately he was at the same time as Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, and we were just going gaga. And I think at one point, my friend Daniel Jeremiah said on air, he said, these other guys are just crushing this combine. But when you look at Rodriguez, you look here, they are having a fantastic combine. We just can't talk about it because they're not doing exactly what those other guys are doing. Rodriguez was way more athletic than I think we thought. And his ability to take the ball away, put himself in the right spots, play the game with intelligence is off the charts. Right. Love it. And if anything goes wrong, his wife comes in and drops a payload on us and we're done, right? She's a Black Hawk helicopter pilot for the Army. So don't mess around with them. Lewis is the one that I was stunned was still there in the 4th round. I was stunned as an outside draft observer. I thought he was going inside the top 3 rounds because his versatility is tremendous. I can't wait to see how he's deployed. Is he going to gain weight and become a little bit bigger so that he holds up a little bit more where he stays inside that little box there? Or are they going to keep him around the same weight and utilize him in multiple spots? Dime linebacker, dime safety, come off the edge, hanger at the line of scrimmage, play in the box in certain situations. I can't wait to watch it. All I know is that he's around the ball a lot, plays with great instincts, great eyes. And why he was there in the 4th round, I'd love to know. But I love the fact that Miami is like, yeah, why is he still here in the 4th round? He's coming to us. Bye. I think it's a great pick. I'd love to be able to call and say, hey, why? Because I don't know that there's a great answer to that.
Yeah, those are 2 picks that I absolutely love. And then I think the steal for them in the draft, besides your boy, but, we talk about Ruben Bain, how I look at him and I go, this is a man that will translate to the league the same way you see him now. Well, when I watch Chris Bell, that's a man playing in a boy's game because he had a man's body. He ran professional routes. He was physical in the air, physical on the ground. His hands are like vice grips, maturity. Is there a negative that exists for Chris Bell outside of the knee injury that they're young enough they can all recover from?
Yeah, outside of that, I don't think so. And, the knee injury was in November. It'd be interesting to see when he's ready to go. I've heard that he might be ready to go for the season, which would be fantastic. We shall see how that all plays out.
I'm predicting pup list. And then you're
just there. Whatever it takes just to get him right. Because I'm on your side of the fence on that one about this kid. He was one of the guys that I really liked. I do a little thing called pound the table that I call it. Guys I would jump on the table for and pick, and he was on my list. Had about 15 guys, and I do that every year. What I loved about him was all things you said, But when he catches a football, he gets vertical so quickly. Like he's not dancing around trying to find a whole lot of open space. He's catching it, getting vertical, and then essentially daring you to tackle him.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the way he operates. So I saw a couple times on tape where I think people underestimated how he could run, and they cut down cushions, and all of a sudden he's up and on top of them, and he's gone. I saw him catch it on the move, going away from people. No one's gaining, and then he's getting vertical and getting upfield. Short catches, run through tackles, make extra plays. And, of course, when he's covered and it's a contested 50-50 ball, it's much more 90-10 in his favor.
Yeah. To me, that's kind of the opposite of the Caleb Douglas kid, where I think they went and looked at and they see all the measurables, the height, the speed, all that. But he's got to get a little bit more physical in the air and then ball security and those kind of things. They went with talent. They went with talent, raw talent, and they can convert it. They're hoping to convert it into becoming what Chris Bell is already as a polished player. So your thoughts on Caleb?
Different style offenses and what they're asking them to do and what they want to do. As you know, with Texas Tech, they're marrying together like 3 different systems. And part of that system is my alma mater at Tennessee, where you have the super wide splits and you're doing all the things there. Those receivers who have to do a lot of that have a bigger adjustment coming in. Remember Jalen Hyatt coming from Tennessee, had that monster last year in Knoxville, torched Alabama, the whole deal. I remember talking with someone very close to the program, like the kid, the whole thing. Their note of caution to me was he's got to get better when he's not on the move. We were hitting him on the move all the time. And on the move, he's deadly. But a lot of those catches, as you know, you're somewhat stationary. You've run your route. You come back to the ball. You've hit it at a certain point. Now what do you do after that? Hyatt is not adjusted so far. Like the Giants, I don't know what's going on, but he's not it. And in fact, he's put players who have played in that type of system in question at the moment. Chris Brazzell coming out of Tennessee this year, he went later than maybe some of us thought. That sort of a deal. I just think that Douglas is a space guy now. He'll have to learn to operate with a few more bodies on him. And let's see if he can make it. But as you said, raw talent, the whole deal, he's got it. He's going to have to do a little more adjusting.
All right, before I let you go, on this free agent undrafted list, Mark Gronkowski, Le'Veon Moss, the running back, Anthony Hankerson, the running back, Donovan McCulley from Michigan, the wide receiver, defensive lineman, Renee Conga from Louisville, defensive lineman, Rodney McGraw from Western Michigan, linebacker Mason Rieger out of Wisconsin, safety Lewis Moore, Indiana, offensive lineman Jim Boniface out of Iowa State, and offensive lineman Kevin Klein out of BC. Anybody tickle your fancy there?
I got to tell you, it's a great undrafted free agent signing list in my mind. There are a good number of players on there that I'm stunned are undrafted free agents and didn't get picked. Gronowski doesn't surprise me because the quarterbacks this year was not their year. But this kid, let's just say I'm biased. I've met him, spent time with him. I'm crazy about the young man. I hope things go well for him in Miami because he's always been a winner. Look what he did South Dakota State. Look how he ran the ball well at Iowa. I just love the kid. Rieger and Lewis Moore that you mentioned later on. Rieger, whatever you do, Big O, just follow my advice. Keep your shirt on around Rieger. Do not get into a pose down with him. Okay? He is body beautiful, plays the game really hard. I knew he was borderline because there's been some injuries and all, but I like the way he plays when he's on the field. And Lewis Moore, the safety from Indiana, remember, he transferred out for a year and came back to Indiana to get things done. Plays a game with great eyes, I believe. I think he patrols well in the middle, round the football. I think he had, 6 picks last year. Those are the types of players that make it hard for you to get rid of. If you're around the ball a lot, that just helps in a big way. So those are guys that caught my eye. Renee Conga, I had a draftable grade on, the big interior defensive lineman. I can't remember everyone else you mentioned, but as you were doing it, my mind kept saying, I had a draftable grade on him. I thought he was going to be a draft pick. I really like that class of undrafted free agents. And it'll be interesting as the Miami Dolphins hit that full reset How many of those guys end up pressing and maybe end up on the practice squad if they don't actually make the team? Because at a certain point, you're not going to take your full draft class and half of your undrafted free agents and make the team. It just doesn't work that way.
No,
but I think you're going to want to keep a good number of them on your practice squad. That's for sure.
Definitely. Looking forward to see how these guys can build, and hopefully they can build a culture and a winner, because, man, we desperately need it down here.
Can I end with one thing?
Yeah, of course.
However this all turns out, I think you and I I think we hit the same spot, because I think we said it. We feel like this draft by John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley was all about, hey, we need a new culture. We need a new set. We need guys who can just play the game. We need guys who can play ball. And I'm here for it. Believe me. Everything else is left town, and I'm not here to denigrate. I'm not here to put down. I'm not here to do whatever. But I know that Tyreek Hill sucked up a lot of oxygen over time. And I'm not saying he's not a great football player. But Kansas City won 2 Super Bowls, went to a third without him.
Right.
And didn't have to deal with all the rest that goes along with it. I'm old school. I'm an old guy. I don't have time for it. I've got great players all over the place. I think I'll find a way. Again, is he a tremendous player? Yes. The rest of it, no. And I think this serves Miami well, that they're past that era.
Yeah, no, definitely. You want the players that want to dedicate themselves to the business of playing the game, not worried about their brand.
Now, got a captaincy is still beyond me, but that's a whole nother story.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, so what do you got going on the NFL Network so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, we got last week of Path to the Draft. I'll be on today and Friday to finish things off for myself. Whole bunch of other great ones: Red Lewis, Bucky Brooks. God knows who else will be on there. I imagine Lance Zerline and the rest of the crew. All that to finish things off, and then we are into our off season, and off we go from there.
Awesome stuff. Charles Davis, as always, catch him there at the NFL Network. Thank you for taking the time, my friend. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. You take care of yourself. Continued success as always, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. You be good out there.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right, we thank Charles Davis, and of course we thank R&M Contractors, Ray and Mike. Excellent work as always. Check out their work on Instagram at RMC Fisher Island. If you're looking for complete remodel, kitchen upgrades with appliances, waterproofing, your terrace, your balcony, even flood test report, impact windows and door installations, do it now before hurricane season starts. Bathroom upgrades, Dade and Broward County, call them. Home, condo, doesn't matter. You can give them a ring, 305-345-3649. That's the cell number. You'll reach them right away, 305-345-3649 for R&M Contractors. Go to RMC Fisher Island on Instagram and check it out. Man of 1,005 holds. Thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, B-plus draft. Got some tall receivers, tight ends, and linebackers. I hope it works out. For most of these guys, day 2 and 3 made me happier. Go Fins. Let's hope so. Let's hope they can get it done, man. Let's hope they can get it done. You know? Let's hope so, because Lord knows we need it in a big-time way. We need it. I hate the Proctor pick because Ione was still on the board. Plus, Proctor has never played guard or right. No, he's played guard. He's played both tackles and both guard positions. He's played 4 spots, but he is predominantly a left tackle. So you are correct. I know where you're coming from, but he has played other positions, actually. But listen, if Proctor becomes a hell of a player, then we're good. Then we're good. Then we're good. We shall find out. Let me see. You know what? Let me let's do a little music before I get back to sports here for you guys. All right, let's do that. Switch it up a little bit here. Let's go with musicians born on this date, which is April 27th. Lizzo, the American singer, writer, or rapper, songwriter, born Melissa Vivian Jefferson, born in 1988. Patrick Stump, lead guitarist and lead singer and rhythm guitarist for Fall Out Boy, born in 1984. Will Boyd, bassist with Evanescence, born in 1979. Marco Perroni, guitarist with Adam and the Ants, born in 1959. Also born in 1959, Sheena Easton. Paul Frehley, or Ace Frehley, known as Paul Ace Frehley, from Kiss, born in 1951. Rest in peace. We just lost him, man, to a fall. It's terrible. Clive Taylor, from the Welsh group Amen Corner, born in 1949. Herb Morrell, singer with the Philadelphia soul group The Stylistics. You make me feel brand new, born in 1949. Kate Pearson, from the B-52s, born in 1948. And that is musicians. Now we go with famous people born on this date. Remember, if I don't give you an age, that means, sadly, they have passed away. Ulysses S. Grant, the 18th president of the United States, born in 1822. Cartoonist Walter Lantz, born in 1899. Actor Jack Klugman, what, The Odd Couple, born in 1922. Civil rights leader Coretta Scott King, born in 1927. Actor Sandy Dennis, born in 1937. Musician Rob Squires from Big Head Todd and the Monsters, born in 1965. He's 61 today. Actress Sally Hawkins, born in 1976. She's 50. Musician Jim James from My Morning Jacket, born in 1978. He's 48. Actor William Mosley, born in 1987. He's 39. College football player and maybe future Miami Dolphin, Arch Manning, born in 2004. He's 22 today. Those are your birthdays and folks born on this date. All righty. Now we move over to music history. Don't forget, folks, to smash the hell out of the like button. All right? Hit it. And Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Thank you for the support. Here we go. What happened today in music history? I know you're all wondering. Well, in 1969, Joe Cocker made his U.S. television debut, appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show on CBS together with the Grease Band and that greasy hair. Cocker performed a cover of Dave Mason's Feeling All Right. In 1979, Iggy Pop released his third studio album, New Values. It features the singles On Board and 5'1". In 1983, the B-52s, remember, it's Kate's birthday today, released her third studio album, Whammy. So they did it on her birthday. It features the singles Legal Tender, Whammy Kiss, and Song for a Future Generation. In 1985, on this date, USA for Africa started a 3-week run at #1 on the U.S. charts with We Are the World. We are the children. The song was written by Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie, and it's one of fewer than 30 all-time physical singles to have sold more than 10 million copies worldwide. It won 3 Grammys, one American Music Award, a People's Choice Award, and included artists such as Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, Paul Simon, Tina Turner, Billy Joel, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Willie Nelson, Bruce Springsteen, Cyndi Lauper, Bob Dylan, Ray Charles, Bette Midler, and oddly enough, Dan Aykroyd. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, the story of the recording is captured in the 2024 Netflix documentary, The Greatest Night in Pop, which is true. And the documentary is awesome. Bob Dylan being so uncomfortable is funny. 87 on this date, REM released their compilation album, Dead Letter Office. It features the singles Superman and Can't Get There From Here. In 88, Poison released their second studio album, Open Up and Say, Ah. And it features Nothing But a Good Time. How Can I Resist? And Fallen Angel, another song, another hit for them. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. And Your Mama Don't Dance, remake, of course. In 93, the Poisies released their third studio album, Frosting on the Beater. It features the singles Dream All Day, Solar Sister, and Flavor of the Month. Have no idea who the Poisies are, by the way. But somebody out there may know the Poisies. In 96, Oasis played the first of two nights at Manchester City, former stadium Main Road, as thank you to fans. The 80,000 tickets sold in hours. In 2012, Marina and Diamonds released their second studio album, Electra Heart. It features the singles Prima Donna, Power and Control, and How to Be a Heartbreaker. Again, no idea who Marina and the Diamonds are, but somebody may like them out there. The saucy and very beautiful Janelle Monáe in 2018 on this date released Dirty Computer, a visionary concept album that went on to be nominated for Album of the Year at the 61st Grammy Awards, and it features Make Me Feel, and I like that. And I think that might have been the tour that I saw her at the Fillmore. She's raunchy. But man, I gotta tell you something. Janelle Monáe is a beautiful woman. Like, beautiful. Gotta give her props. She's good looking. Definitely. By the way, birthdays, Cuba Gooding Sr. Lead singer of The Main Ingredient was born today in 1944. That was not on the other list. Let's see who else. Is there anybody else? Nope, that's it. And that's what happened today in Musica history. How about that? I hated every part of having Tyreek Hill, says NorCal. Well, because once you found out that he wasn't about anything but himself, I get it, NorCal. You know, dude, I totally get it. Makes sense. You know? What else? Go watch Proctor versus Florida State. He was horrible. Ocala Joe, Morning O, as a guy who has more yesterdays than tomorrow's ahead in my life, all I can say is let's hope this time it will work out better than the last 40 years. They should know more than us. Yeah. Yeah, we're all hoping, man. We need it to work out for once in our lives. We do. We definitely do. Mr. Spock says lots of ifs for a draft picks that can't cement your legacy as a new GM. If out of the gate, Bain or Vega are balling and earning accolades and Proctor struggles, Sully will get the media backlash and the fans. There's a lot of fans that are, not happy about passing up on Ruben Bain. I'm one of them. I'm extremely disappointed on that pick. I like a lot of the other picks, I got to tell you. I'll be completely honest. I don't have a problem with the Chris Johnson pick. The kid can play. Jacob Rodriguez, I have no problem with that one. Kasmeric, I have no problem with that one. I love the Chris Bell pick. Love the Kyle Lewis pick. Taffy's a player. Now, he's not a big player, so we'll see if, he's durable. But the kid is super smart and plays the game the right way. So there's some picks there that are interesting. We'll see, man. Again, as I've told you before, you had Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas and Pat Surtain and Sam Madison and Tim Bowens, and you won nothing. You had Marino, and you won nothing. So you can have great players or no-name players or whatever. The bottom line is John Eric Sullivan has to know how to build a team and a culture. If we don't have the right GM, we're never, ever going to get over the hump. Ask Marino, ask Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas, ask Ricky Williams, ask Cam Wake, ask any of the players that excelled here. They never were led by a great GM. Marino was led by a great head coach, a shitty GM. Love Shula, but he was a horrible GM. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. So it comes down to John Eric Sullivan. Everything comes down to John Eric Sullivan. He better be the guy. So he better be right on Caden Proctor. Even if Bain and Vega are kicking ass, Proctor better also be kicking ass. And if Bain and Vega falter, Proctor better kick ass. Either way, Proctor better kick ass. That's all. Bottom line for him. I always knew he was a me guy, so I hated every moment of him in Miami, says NorCal. Andre says Finns can still get Bain if Mike Pence has the courage to do the right thing. I agree. This is why we need a ballroom. The Dolphins can't win. They can't put a winning team together. Can't win in the playoffs. Can't win a Super Bowl. If we had a ballroom, think about it. What we do is we create a ballroom that's big enough for our team to practice in. That'll get them ready. And when they ask, why are the Dolphins now winners? We'll say, because they practice in their ballroom. So I'm with you. I'm 100% with you on that one. Okay? Either if we can't get Mike Pence to do the right thing, so we have to do the right thing. We have to build a ballroom. It's an answer to everything in life. Build a ballroom. If we build a ballroom, the titles will come. That's what I'm told. Build the ballroom. Win the titles. That's what they said. Let's see. The Poisies figures that Pat in Nashville would have it. Had one hit, Dream All Day. You'd remember it. Oh, if you heard it. Okay. Poisies. Dream All Day. When I get off, I'll go check it out. You're the best, Pat. Your music knowledge is freaking awesome, dude. You're amazing. Dolphin Dave says, you just jinxed us, Big O. You just jinxed us with, what do you mean? You just jinxed us with what? I don't know. What did I jinx you with? What did I do? Edge Bain at 12, OG, pregnant. What is it? Oh, pregnant. What is it? Pregnon at 75 would have been the draft, Big O. Devin says, Big O, how many years do you give this GM head coach before you pull the plug and move on? I don't know. Well, I would have pulled the plug, on this last head coach before and stuff, and they didn't pull the plug, so I don't know. Let's go through the first 2 years, and let me get a feel for these guys. I gotta we can't go through 1 year and go, okay, these are the right guys or not, or this off season or whatever. Let's get into year 2 and then we'll figure things out, man. Then we'll find out if they're the guys or not. By the way, we're going to be at Fort Lauderdale United this Saturday. They are hosting the Tampa Bay Sun FC. We'll be broadcasting live. You can get tickets, bring the kids out there. Great family atmosphere. Use the QR code. You can get your season tickets for next year also. Fort Lauderdale United will be out there this Saturday. Final month of the season. The men's will start in January. Fort Lauderdale United. Can't wait. Looking forward to that too. Pat says, I was way out in the county in WNC and someone had cut Pence out of a Trump Pence sign. LOL. With WNC, I would mean Western North Carolina. Okay. What will happen first? Finns win the Super Bowl or Doge checks arrive to us? Tariff checks. The Doge check is $5,000. The tariff is only $2,000. I'm still waiting for those, bro. There's a nice Bitcoin dip. I can buy some Bitcoin if they would send me these. Well, you know, when's my Doge and tariff checks coming, bro? Like, you know when it'll happen? When the Dow hits 50. When the Dow hits 50, we get our ballroom, we get our championships, and we get our Doge and tariff checks. Yeah. Procter and Douglas better be better than Bain and Pregnon. Daddy Dean has laid down the law. You know, when Daddy Dean lays down the law, shit is over. Shit is over. He just laid it down right now. He just put it right out there. It's over. Better happen. Better happen. Or Daddy Dean is going to have your ass, John Eric Sullivan. Just saying. Arch Manning, the betting favorite to be the first overall pick in the 2027 draft. Dolphins are primed. Think about what's going to happen this year. We're going to be watching Malik Willis. And if he sucks or is not good or it's a disaster and they're losing games up the yin-yang, and then we're watching, you know, Arch play, we're going to be rooting for tanking and wanting Arch and all. It's going to be the same stuff all over again that we've done in the past. Oh, man. Too funny, man. Too funny. We will know how legit Pregnon is in about 9 months. I hope he doesn't do, I hope he does what we did, that we didn't want to find out the sex. It's fun. You get Pregnon, but don't find out the sex. That way you get surprised, unless, you have prediction skills like I do, where I wasn't surprised at all and I knew I was going to have a girl. But some of us have that skill set. Some of you out there, you kind of wish you had the skill set, but it's not there. So it's not easy. It's not easy to do those kind of predictions. It's not easy to tell you that Tua's going to Atlanta 2 months ahead of time. These are things that my crystal balls tell me. Others have a crystal ball. I have crystal balls. That's the difference. The power I possess is plural. So, somebody's just singular. That's weak. week. Power in numbers. So you got to have crystal balls. That's the key. You sent me the video, Pat. You're the best. Oh, that's fantastic. All right. The Will Fuller treatment at Universal Rides breaks down and delayed. 325-minute wait for Hagrid's Will Fuller treatment and Jurassic Park ride closed the water ride. My favorite nostalgia. Wow, was that this weekend? I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Damn. This draft comes down to the first pick. Nah, not really, Dolphin Dave. Dude, if the whole draft kicks ass, let's just have some fun. Let's have some fun. Okay? I don't like this hypothetical bullshit, but let me just kind of, there's 13 picks, dude. So Cater Proctor sucks. Let's just say he flames out. But Chris Johnson's a shutdown corner. And Jacob Rodriguez is a starting stud linebacker. And Will Kazmarek ends up becoming a blocking tight end for the next 10 years. And Chris Bell is either a number 1 or number 2 wide receiver that you picked up in the draft. And Kyle Lewis is another linebacker starting for you. The draft actually becomes a pretty good draft overall. That will make up for it if you miss on that first pick, because you had 2 first rounders. If you hit on the other first rounder and you hit on your second rounder, it starts to change the trajectory of it. So I get it that we'll be still pissed about if Ruben Bain's kicking ass and Caden isn't. But to defend those guys, if the other picks are kicking ass, Dolphin Dave, it doesn't become a terrible draft. It can't be based on one, because I don't know. What did I don't even feel like looking it up now, but I would imagine that Jimmy Johnson failed in his first round pick where he took Jason Taylor in the 3rd, right? I could probably guess that his first round pick was a failure, but he made it up in his 3rd round pick, right? I would think that may be the case, right? Let's just have some fun. Let me see if I can quickly find it for you here. Okay. Let's see. Daryl Gardner in 96 was the first round pick. Then he picked Dorian Brew, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kirk Pointer. Was he with the Pointer sisters? Then Stanley Pritchett, LaCurtis Thomas, Jarris McFailure, Shane Burton. Oh, yeah, no, Jimmy Johnson's so amazing. And then Zach Thomas. How do you like that, Dolphin Dave? Daryl Gardner, Dorian Brew, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kirk Pointer, Stanley Pritchett, LaCurtis Jones, Jarris McFailure, Shane Burton, and he didn't hit till Zach Thomas. And then Sean Wooden, or he used to call him Wooten, was a decent player. And then it was Jeff Bucky and Bryce Hunter. So how was that draft? But he got a Hall of Famer out of it. And then in 97, he takes Yatil Green. By the way, I was laughing sitting in the ballroom while he did the interview, and I was laughing. Sam Madison, so he made up for it, and then Jason Taylor. But then he goes Derek Rogers, Ronnie Ward, Brent Smith, Jerome Daniels, Baron Tanner, Nick Lopez, John Fiala, Brian Manning, Mike Crawford, Ed Perry finally hit on one, and Hudhafia Ismaili. Remember what I talked about earlier with Jimmy Johnson? If I really put the reality of everything, some of you would change your thinking. And then in 98, Dolphin Dave, John Avery, then he got Pat Surtain. Kenny Mixon was a decent pick. Didn't last long, but he was good for that first contract, I guess. Brad Jackson, Larry Shannon, who he told us was going to be better than Randy Moss, or was going to be as good as Randy Moss. Let me not misquote Jimmy Johnson. Larry Shannon will be as good as Randy Moss. Lorenzo Bromell, which was a good pick for that first contract. Neither one, Mixon or Bromell, saw a second contract that was worth it. Scott Shaw, Nathan Strickwerda, John Dutton, out of Nevada, and Jim Brundren. How'd it go? Well, at least he got Pat Surtain. So you see, Dolphin Dave, how you can whiff on that first rounder, but if you find something after. 99, the hits keep on coming. He takes J.J. Johnson with his second round pick, his first pick, which was in the second round. Then Rob Conrad, decent pick. Greg Rugemeyer, Cecil Collins, peeking into people's windows. Brian Jones, Brent Bartholomew, Jermaine Haley, Joe Wong. How was Jimmy's drafting overall now that I'm just going over it? Huh? How was his drafting overall? It wasn't like Dallas, was it? Huh? Nah. Really wasn't like Dallas. The most overrated sports figure in the history of South Florida sports. The amount of smoke that the local media and fans blow up that man's ass is beyond me, dude. Beyond me. Because it's like the rollover success of Dallas flops over here when I don't give a shit what happened in Dallas. Screw Dallas. You know? Anyway. Truth hurts, no, it don't hurt me. I've been speaking the truth for years. It doesn't hurt me. I laugh at it. I actually laugh at it. I do. Because it's, one of the biggest misnomers out there, where you put Jimmy on a pedal in South Florida when it's full of failure in South Florida, dude. Failure all over the damn place. He just has the one championship, which not enough. Because once you by losing the Fiesta Bowl the way he lost it, that just tells me you're nothing but a riverboat gambler, bro. And shit worked out for you in Dallas. But overall, yeah, overrated. It's like this, they treat him like this guru or some shit, It's like, give me a break, bro. Anyway, is what it is. What are you gonna do? All right, folks, we are out of here. We appreciate all of you as always. Thank you for tuning in. We had a great weekend. Appreciate all of you for catching up with us over the weekend, all the draft shows. Tomorrow, Tony Pauline is going to join us. He'll give us his thoughts on the Dolphins draft. Told you I'd get a couple people on to go over it, and not just my thoughts and theirs. And we'll have David Furones also tomorrow. So we got a loaded show for you tomorrow. Appreciate Charles Davis. If you missed the interview, you can rewind. It was fantastic. Had plenty of stuff to say. We went over the draft and over even the undrafted free agents and philosophy and all kinds of stuff. So it was a really, really good conversation. We appreciate it. Thank you to all out there. Those of you that made a donation, whether it's a super chat, Cash App, or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. You can send it anytime. Visit our amazing freaking sponsors, Welton Rayom, Caneswear, Fort Lauderdale United, EJD, Sloman's, Laser Eye Center of Miami, Toyota of Hollywood, Acura, All Year Cooling, Hialeah Park, Moody Dental, Subaru of Pembroke Pines, and of course, R&M Contractors. Man, Ray and Mike, great work as always. We shall see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.